Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio. So today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 cards from the upcoming Shining Legends expansion. This is a very special expansion, ladies and gentlemen. Like Generations last year, this is only available in specific sets. You can't just go and buy a booster pack or a booster box. Oh no, you've got to buy a special set, and it's actually got some really good cards in. Although, a couple of quick things before we start. I am personally not counting Warp Energy, because I believe that's coming in Crimson Invasion as well, so we don't need it. And I don't think either Entei or Mewtwo GX are good enough, so they didn't make my list. Come at me, bro. Now, in terms of the top 10, I've got a couple of near misses. At number 12, we have got Manaphy. Manaphy's not particularly amazing. It allows you to heal 20 damage from any of your Pokemon that have a water energy attached. It's fine. It's quite good healing. But I don't know what decks are going to use this. I'd like to be wrong. I may well be wrong. I could be wrong about any of these. That's what makes this video so fun, but I'm not putting it on the list. Similarly, Keldeo just misses the list. I like Keldeo, but I don't think Keldeo is quite good enough, ladies and gentlemen. Keldeo allows you to do 20 damage for 2 water energy, plus 20 for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. This is quite a good attack, but I just think generally we've got better options. And it's not that I think it's a terrible card. I'm sitting here and I don't know what deck I'm playing it in. And for that reason, I'm not putting it onto the list. So coming in at number 10, we have got Stunfisk. Although it's not the first time it's happened, this is quite unique, because it is a fighting type Pokemon that uses lightning type energy. Quite simply, for a lightning double colorless, you do 70 damage. Add a choice band on there, you do 100, times by 2, and you do 200 damage. And you get a KO on something like a Darkrai or a Drampa. If you're playing a deck that uses something like Raikou, more on that in a minute, or Vikavolt, like Vikavolt Bulu for instance, this gives you a fighting type attacker that you didn't previously have. For that reason, I think we should pop it at number 10. In at number 9, we have got Marshadow. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Marshadow has just got an ability. I mean, it's got an attack, but it's the ability. It's a judge. You play it down, both players shuffle their hands into their decks and draw 4 cards. We've all seen how disruptive Judge can be. If you use Marshadow on turn 1 of the game, you can make sure that your opponent starts their turn with only 4 cards in their hand. That is going to leave them bereft of options. It's going to leave them without very much to do, ladies and gentlemen. And you can do this after you've played your supporter. You get going, you play a Sycamore, you draw some cards, then you drop a Marshadow, and your opponent presumably sits there and cries. In at number 8, we have got Shaymin. Now, I quite like the idea that this has a bonus attack. For 1 grass energy, shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 6 cards. It's fine. It's quite nice. It's kind of like Clefairy's Eek. It's not the reason you play the card, but if you've got a completely dead hand with nothing to do, this will help you out nicely. But what I really like here is Revenge. 30 damage, but 120 if you had an opponent knocked out during your opponent's last turn. This is quite funky. Although we do have the English translation, and it is knocked out by damage from an attack, so something like a Feather Arrow KO wouldn't count. This is quite good. You just 120 for 2 energy. If you're playing something like Vikavolt, where you can get the energy on there easily, or the Shining Legends Venusaur that makes all your energy count double, yeah, this is pretty sweet, ladies and gentlemen. I like it a lot. Speaking of Venusaur, in at number 7, Shining Genesect. I like Shining Genesect. It really takes advantage of this Venusaur I just mentioned that makes all of your energy count double. It's got a really nice ability that allows you to move a grass energy from one of your Pokemon to him, and then Gaia Blaster is basically Keldeo EX's Sacred Sword. 50 damage plus 20 more for each grass energy attached to him, but if you combine it with Venusaur, then they all count double. So you get 2 energy on there, it's actually 4 energy on there. You're hitting 130 for 2 energy on a non-GX. This adds up really quite quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of Venusaur, this one is actually Venusaur. He's in at number 6. We've talked about him a bit already, so we don't need to go too crazy here. He means that all of your grass energy count double, but you cannot stack this. It's one Venusaur only. Although worth bearing in mind that if you're facing something like a Gardevoir, then your energy count double for their damage calculations as well. In at number 5, Shining Mew. Now, if Shining Mew had higher HP, I would be so excited and in love with this card. But it doesn't. So I'm not. But for 1 Psychic Energy, search your deck for 2 energy cards. And note, it says energy cards, not basic. So you could grab Strong Energy, Double Colorless, etc. and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. But you've got 30 HP. Now, the free retreat is awesome, and this attack is amazing, but you've got 30 HP. If this had, say, 90 HP, it would be borderline broken. It is going to get knocked out after 1 attack, and it is a complete liability to have in your deck. But oh my goodness, that attack is good. In at number 4, we have got Raikou, who really is just Yveltal, but for electric Pokemon. 30 damage for 1 energy, and attach a lightning energy from your discard to one of your benched Pokemon. Every lightning deck is going to want to play 1 or 2 of these. It's as simple as that. It's a great card. It's going to be just as good for lightning decks as Yveltal has been for dark decks, so it comes in at number 4. Now, in at number 3, I'm cheating just a little bit. We are going Celebi, and to be fair, Celebi isn't actually in the set proper. Celebi is a promo which is only coming out in the Shining Legends Ho-Oh Super Premium Collection. That means that this is likely to be a very expensive card, and my advice to you all, ladies and gentlemen, pick this up quickly, because according to PokeBeach.com, from whom I got the set list for this set, Celebi ain't in the set. And the Super Premium Collection ain't gonna be cheap. It's gonna be $80. Yeah, and it's the only place to get the card. Why is it so good? Because it's got an ability that allows you to copy the attacks of your pre-evolutions. It is Shrine of Memories in an ability, but it's the only thing we've actually got that does that at the moment. It is going to be a good card. It is going to get more and more expensive as time goes by. Might I suggest you pick it up sooner rather than later? But I think there are 2 cards in the set that are better, and of course, if you want to argue, there's a comment section. It's literally what it's there for. We've got Raichu-GX that I love for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it can just do 160. Lightning, colourless, and remember we've got all sorts of things like Electrode and like Raikou that we can use to accelerate energy to lightning Pokemon. 160 is great. We've seen this with Turtonator, we've seen it with Lapras, and we see it with Raichu. But you've also got Powerful Spark, 20 damage plus 20 more for each lightning energy attached to all of your Pokemon, which we know is great because we've seen it on Breakpoint Darkrai. These are 2 very good attacks that propel Raichu-GX up to number 2. But the best card in the set, and I don't think there's much argument here, although people will inevitably argue, but I think it's a fairly clear-cut number 1 here. Zoroark-GX. Now, Zoroark-GX, the worst thing about it, it's weak to Marshadow, so people could start just teching in Marshadow to get some cheeky KOs on Zoroark. But the ability, once during your turn, discard a card from your hand, draw 2, just like the old Empoleon from Dark Explorers. That, not only does it add an insane amount of consistency, but think about a lot of decks at the moment. Water decks want water energy in the discard for Aqua Patch, and Lightning decks want lightning in the discard for Raikou, and Metagross decks want metal in the discard for Geotech System, and you see where I'm going with this. The discard is good. Drawing cards is good. It's just good. Add in an attack for a double colourless energy that does 20 damage for each Pokemon you have in play. That's 120 for a double colourless, 150 with a choice band. That's really good. To put it another way, you one-hit KO Marshadow for a double colourless with a choice band. So you're not even that worried about Marshadow. And then for 2 dark energy, just copy one of your opponent's attacks. You want to copy a GX attack? Go for it. Any attack on any Pokemon on their side of the field, you can just use for 2 dark energy. That's crazy good, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this card is wrecking in Japan at the moment, but I should warn you, they're playing X and Y onwards, so they, for instance, still have Skyfield in their format. But I don't think that stops Zoroark being the best card in Shining Legends. I think it's great, but if you disagree, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. If you want to find out about any of these cards in more detail, I've done videos about them. Check links to them in the description. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to support the channel and get some bonus pods, I think you should, but I'm a little bit biased. Go and check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.